Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 in the last major tournament of 2025 with our first grand finalist, the rank 1 Protoss in the world in the blue, the Smiling Assassin. It's Hero, facing off against his fellow champion Protoss in the red. We have Classic in a best of 7 Protoss versus Protoss grand finals to the Revival Star League's 2025 offline championship. And before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button, or maybe even subscribe. And we got it, the algorithm. Jimmy, what are we at? Jimmy. 1,762 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better, as it's time to buckle in, buckle up, and maybe even buckle down. Protoss versus Protoss is not known for being a long-winded matchup. It's all about mind games and drama. Okay, so, you know, most of life in a nutshell. But exacerbated by how dangerous every single Protoss unit, up to and including the probe. And I'm putting the probe at the top of the pyramid here, because nothing really starts without it, and it must be respected. It is possibly the most dangerous unit in this matchup, as it has such an ability to affect a huge percentage of the game. And when the game itself is usually less than 10 minutes, well, it might not be long, but it is dramatic. And that's what they all say about me as well. An expansion on the way, though, on Avex's Botanical for map number 1. And neither player, there's a ramp up to the natural, which gives you that, at least, illusion of defensive capability. Being able to deny vision means it's a lot harder to just walk up with the early gateway units and start firing at things without giving up something of an advantage. Hero's probe, it's going to be very... Hero takes out the probe of Classic, which means there's maybe an opportunity to respond directly. He spotted the Stargate. I'm pretty sure he messed up the wall, but he is named Hero, so that wouldn't be surprising. I guess you can leave a space. So, the biggest danger in the early game, once the probe phase of danger is passed, or at least mitigated. Speaking of which, wait, Classic is just... That's Hero's probe. It gets a little confusing, because it's so easy to get the Protoss buildings mixed up between which player's building them in which base. So far, everything is on their own sides of the map, and should continue past this phase. The first probe, Hero just kind of resigned it to potential death. Classic shuts the door back in his face. Just recall it. Alright? The probe's still running around. A Phoenix is nearly completed. In fact, Hero will spot that Phoenix. We're 3.5 minutes into the game. The probe, what are you going to do? Lift it? Okay. Probe coming back around. Hero probably considering a recall. There's Blink on the way. A second Phoenix is about to come out. This probe has lived rent-free in the base until 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And 2 Phoenixes have already been spotted headed across the map. So it's pretty clear at this point as Classic finally cancels the gateway in the wall. Because remember, Protoss may have invented all sorts of gates, but they never invented doors. So the best you can do is temporarily building certain buildings. Usually a shield battery, occasionally a gateway. In order to wall things off, whether it be adepts or probes themselves. But just a straight-up blink timing. The shield battery will pretty much, fully negate a single Phoenix. 2 Phoenixes will be able to slice right through, but quite a dramatic start. Hero with a proxy pylon on the other side, gonna slap down a gate. He's just doing a blink all-in. It's an old build, but it certainly checks out. Possibly one of the oldest builds in StarCraft 2. Ever since Blink Stalkers existed, people have been trying to shove them into people's faces. So, Hero trying to take advantage of the fact that Classic has invested so much in... Okay, so Classic has 3 Phoenixes, 1 Oracle. End of list. That is it. He just opened up a single warp gate. An Immortal is halfway done. Shield battery's on the way. Those Phoenixes only have a couple lifts. He could maybe recharge one or the other. He's just going to target the pylon. And Hero's about to spot the Robo, but the Immortal is not out. This could depower the shield battery. And, well, taps on the Immortal in order to trigger the barrier. They'll be down for about 30 seconds. Classic is supply block, trying to get a second Immortal out. Hero knows he has to blunks in, targets the Immortal, doesn't live up to its name, and he just kills it. Game number 1. Hero, 5.5 minutes. 2/3 of the game, the probe was spying on Classic's base, and the other third, he was just waiting to blink. So Classic just dies, and Hero takes game number 1. Not a lot of detail there. I don't know why Classic thought... Now, the multi-leveled mind games, the onion, if you would, because it makes people cry, of Protoss versus Protoss is... It's a lot to unpack and so little at the same time. He just blunked in and killed him. Like, that's the default build in Protoss versus Protoss, is just go blink. That's the default build for Protoss in every matchup, to be fair. Just because you have the high ground does not... He just didn't have any units. I can't pontificate anymore. We're just trying to load up the second Jimmy. No. Usually the intermission time is not such a significant percentage of the game, but what can we do? We can go into game number 2. Well, there were no deep mind games there. Classic just overextended his tech way too far. He was greedy with the Phoenixes, and he just had no units. So Hero just lops his head off with the Blink Stalkers. And we move directly into the second match. More one-sided than a Mobius strip so far, but that's PvP in a nutshell. It's very, like, the other races know this as well. Protoss is so strong the moment they hit a timing. They have such dramatic units that are so expensive to balance them out. But if you don't have the answer right here, and right now, and right here, and right now, you're probably dead. There is no recovery. When you can build the same things, but you have less, you're just done. It's just over. Okay, do not pass go. Do not collect one game in the grand finals of the RSL. Do not collect, maybe, at the end of the day, the lion's share of over $10,000. Now, I could talk about the little details, which are incredibly important and very hard to miss, and I'll be honest, I don't pay as close attention as I should, even while I'm playing. But Chrono Boost. Chrono Boost, the ability to speed along production. Like, Hero currently has a full Chrono banked up and counting. Classic, on the other hand, spent 2 on his early probes. And also, how many in gas? Both of them with 3 in gas. Not all the time is that the case, depending on whether they're intent on an early expand. Now, here on Evil Heart, there is no ramp up to the natural for whatever false sense of security that might give you. Classic. So it's a lot easier to just attack directly. I think both players acknowledging that. There's a robotics facility in kind of a hidden pylon. Interesting, no probe scouts. But, a single probe scouting for other probes headed in. Classic. It kind of looks like he wants to proxy, but instead is... Well, he's looking for proxy pylons as well. Trying to time out in between the first and second set of gateway units. We got Stalkers coming across. Adepts for Classic. Which, an odd dynamic. He shades by the probe. Hero! He lets the probe in, but Classic! Oh, and he's going to pull the probes to deal with it because the threat of the Adepts is so dramatic. Meanwhile, Stalker's on the other side. If he just kills the first pylon, he's not going to get it before the Stalkers come out, though. And now the Adepts looking to shade in. The shield battery on the way to be canceled at the last moment. He's just going to complete the shade. Meanwhile, well, these Adepts, he wants to cancel. More Adepts come out. The shield battery is supposed to be a temporary wall, but if you... Well, and Hero just walks in. You can't... A sentry pop... Uh-oh. I'm not locked in here with you, Hero. The most obvious force field. Saw that one coming, and so did Hero, but he's still trying to salvage the situation. Instead, these Stalkers are going to be completely obliterated. What he didn't know very much hurt him, and the Immortal smacks the Stalkers into the unit's loss tab. Well... now an Adept is on its way across. And 2 Adepts into the main. Both players baiting their opponent. Deja vu. The Adept can shade past the force field, but its corporeal form is unable to move past as easily. Classic thinking about expanding. He does have a Warp Prism, though, with a Sentry that could potentially lock units on either side of the ramp. Gonna warp in a little bit more. There's a Immortal on the high ground. A Probe that was at least scouting forward comes down the ramp. Force field. Slurps it up into the Prism. And now the, will they, won't they, right on the edge of range. But, oh, Adept. Shades by. Force field. It's impossible. It's actually, you can tell who has less energy, but it's actually hard to tell who's casting these force fields. I'm not sure who they're helping more. But as time goes on, it becomes more and more clear that Classic is making progress. Because without the Warp Prism to juggle in this Clown Fiesta, you're left without the most important tool. One of the gateways goes down. Classic still has 2 at home. Hero actually built another gate at the back. And Classic has 2 Immortals. Hero has 1. No amount of nimble navigation here, I think, is going to surmount this particular disparity. The Immortals just blasting their way through. All right. 2 Immortals. Juggling. Well, 2-2, but with some more gateway units for Classic, almost loses an Immortal. If he ends up losing the Immortals, Hero could turn it around. It comes down to that. 9 probes dead. Well, the 3rd Immortal comes up, and I think, therefore I am. And that should seal the deal, as the surprisingly tanky units done brawling with each other. And GG. Classic evens things up in a marginally longer game, though a little bit less one-sided. Game number 2. Another Hero caught with 1 Immortal less. Well, his Immortal was caught, and then he had 1 less. The order was very important in what happened there. And Classic just doubled down. It came down to the masterful bait. The Stalkers got in, thinking that they had free reign, and honestly, the Adepts... So, the little mind game there, when you go Adepts, it looks like a Stargate thing. Almost always, if you go Robo, you go Stalkers, because you have more gas in order to work with. And I think that's why Classic hid the Robo, just in case. Maybe a better opportunity to hide it, even if there was a probe scout. So the little mind game there of going Adepts may have lulled Hero into a false sense of security, and it cost him. And now we're all tied up. Going appropriately into Winter Madness. Game number 3. Alrighty. Par for the course. Some pretty solid macro games for Protoss versus Protoss. No, usually... Well, I feel like it's a bell curve. At the lowest level of Protoss versus Protoss, the Bronze League heroes and everything nearby, games are very quick, or at least relative. Cannon rush, proxy gate, what have you. Unable to defend against the straight-up 4 gate. And then, as you get more competent and more capable, the defense ramps up. You're able to defend against these initial rushes and maybe go to a later game. But when we get to literally the top 10 players in the world, they are so good at killing each other that having even a marginal advantage quickly widens into a canyon. And so far, neither player able to come back from that. But the gas is on the way. Probes headed out. Interesting that neither player actively probe scout at the beginning of the game. That's another mind game, too, is not probe scouting. And just playing blind poker there. And it cost Hero, I think. Because he never saw the Robo until the Immortal showed up. Well, technically he never saw the Robo at all. But it doesn't take a... You can do the math on that one. Sure, yeah. Classic with a normal second pylon location, which is anywhere but your main. That is not... A lot of what I'm saying, I don't know if it's my voice, and it's my tone, and it's my normal... I guess, not manifesto. That's wrong. But somehow right. But it's just my normal state of being, is to be a little sarcastic sometimes, make a joke out of it. But unironically hiding your second pylon is very standard fare. At least the strong minority of the time in Protoss versus Protoss. Because you must construct additional pylons. Not just your first one, your second one. It's kind of figured out when you're supposed to build it. And if it's not in your main base, some players will just build one for a proxy and then one somewhere else. Like one in their main so it can be scouted. Here, Classic is making it... Wait, did he do that? No. The probe didn't scout it. The Adepts are playing hard to get on either side. They'll just shade right past each other, fearing direct confrontation. That's Classic's pylon. This is Hero's pylon. Hero is trying to counterwall as he's trying to cancel, but he encompassed the wall with his own wall. I heard you like walls. Meanwhile, the Adept shades on the other side. The Adepts be shoved up against it and will complete it, which is a mistake. Technically, right? Unless, you might, no, it's a, yes. Meanwhile, it is a proxy Robo Warp Prism. Hero with the inner wall here. There is an actual Oracle in production. He has a Robo and a Stargate at the same time on one base. That Oracle is certainly going to come as a surprise, but the Warp Prism is an even quicker one. Hello? The Adepts are in the main, circumventing the convoluted wall. And the damage is being done. He's going to spot the Stargate. But the Oracle, there's a sentry coming across the map. We're playing Ring Around the Nexus. Immortal pops out, slurps up the Adepts, gets out. There are 2 Stalkers in the mineral line, which means that the Oracle is not going to be able to get any damage done. And I think Classic's proxy ends up working out better than Hero's multi-tier tech tree shrubbery in his main here. 20 to 23 workers is an advantage, and now these pylons that he baited out are potentially vulnerable. Deja vu. We've just baited this place before. Immortals on either side, and Classic just gonna try to bust it down. Sacrifices a lot of HP, but doesn't lose the Oracle in order to get some probes, but the Stalkers are locked in by the force field from the low ground. The Immortal bashing through. Gonna be juggled closer. Bashes through the Stalker. Hero does still have a Stargate, but he barely has any money. Here comes the Warp Prism. Here we go again. Up and down and up and down. And where are we gonna land? Well, Classic again has 2 Immortals, and Hero only has 1. And it doesn't take a mathematician to figure out who has the advantage here. But juggling the Immortals to reset the targeting. Adepts warped in at the back. Oracle's coming back home, but will there be any home to come back to? No way to target this down. Juggle the Immortal away. Force field locks it in. A couple Adepts for Classic. Hero does have a 3rd gate. He hasn't done anything with the Stargate. The Oracle is going to be required. The only anti-air is a couple sentries, which I think the Oracle could kill. The Immortal drops out. The Oracle gets the sentries. Another Immortal's about to pop out. He actually phases in the Prism as there's no anti-air at all from Hero. The Immortals are juggling as a single Stalker. Hero will survive. And actually, that Immortal gets sniped off. He will survive, but we have to ask ourselves that question. Have you liked and subscribed? And at what cost? Oh no, the damage. That's a lot of damage. An Immortal, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's, yep, call it 2 in a row. Classic takes 2. Just blasting through with the Immortals. And takes the lead for the first time. 2 to 1. Well, a bit of a difference in how we got there, but a similar result. Hero this time trying the split tech tree. And Classic just bashing through. Committed to the proxy robo. Maybe if Hero had continued on the Stargate, like Phoenixes or War Prism, but you run the risk. Like, one Void Ray isn't necessarily going to solve your problems. And it is an expensive unit. Okay? One Void Ray costs as much as an Immortal. More than an Immortal, actually. And if you don't get the damage done, you've committed all of your investment. And it's just gone. Like, anyways. Alright, Mothership. As we are continuing our speed run. This is a 3-player map, which I don't know if that makes it more or less likely to be cheese inclined. It is less likely you'll be able to reliably scout. Not that that has been much of a help so far. There's an entire map to build your pylons on, and both players have shown that in some fashion. Alright, Hero will send his probe the right direction. Not that he knows it is, but it's just taking a guess. 50-50. Classic. Actually, redirect. Is he really going to hedge his bets like this? That's crazy. How would you know, though? This is just a gamble. Like, it's just a hidden pylon. He's just putting it out where it's almost certainly never going to be scouted. At least by the first probe. Will he add to it? Will there be some extra flavor? Some meat to these potatoes? Not that the Protoss would know any such things, as they don't have mouths, and they are plants, so they have no potatoes then. Not important. He is looking very sus with that probe. A robo it is. If it ain't broke, it wouldn't matter because the Protoss can't fix it. But a proxy, now lucky for him, and now Hero is also doing what could be construed as a proxy robo. It's like, that's a nice build. Yoink. The hidden robotics facility. So Hero's probe got in and scouted the lack of information. There's the second pylon that was clearly late. The probe from Classic gets in, and we'll see the robo. The robotics facility for Classic is marginally quicker, but it is in the center of the map. Classic now knows Hero is also going robo, but I'm not actually sure what you do differently in that case. Let's see. So fun fact, these shades have collision with other shades, but nothing else besides buildings, which was quite a curious fact. The probe, waiting to slap down the battery to block out. Dies for its efforts. Probably didn't need to stick around, but, you know. Commitment. The Stalkers can kill the Adepts. Stalkers can kill the Adepts. Meanwhile, still no vision of this. Perfectly placed for Classic, and it was very lucky. Well, it was pretty lucky. 50-50 that he was in a position to take advantage. But he just spotted the robotics facility, and that gives Hero maybe a couple extra seconds of warning. He's gonna try. He was thinking about shading in. He's still thinking about it. The sentries are there. Shield battery takes out one Adept, which reduces their effectiveness entirely. Tries to save the other. Not gonna happen. Warp Prism will have to head out. Meanwhile, Hero, a Warp Prism of his own. Gonna slide along the air blocker at the edge of the... That's probably what's keeping him in space over here. Beautiful. A single Adept. Shading. Now the sentries, a little bit less dangerous. The tickle beams, not able to get so much done. Hero's gonna lose the prism, isn't he? What's Hero's MO? That's what I was looking for. MO! In the last game, when I'm talking about my... Moving on! Not also ammo, but still not relevant. Somehow the Prism lives. If only they could borrow this Colossus they're building over there. All right, that's before they put the Warhammer paints on. Meanwhile, Immortal versus Pylon. Stalkers versus Immortal. Immortal versus Pylon. Pylon loses the battle, as it was going to do ever since Pylon Overcharge was removed 17 years ago. But Immortal's on the field. Of course there are. Another Immortal juggling back. Recalls out. Loses one Sentry, one Stalker, but the Immortal lives. As you would hope it would do for as long as possible. So, Classic. Oh, but wait! Adepts in the main! And this has turned this from a dangerous timing to an all-in one for Classic. He's already lost too many probes to recover. Hero? Did he start the Nexus and cancel it, or was he just thinking about it? Either way, it's not going to happen. But again, Classic is knocking on the door, but I think for the first time, Hero might have enough to answer. More probes dead. Just target firing. There's not enough to stop him. 8 probes slaughtered, and he might get through the gates, but there's already 2 Immortals in the main. He's building a 3rd. Where is the Prism? Headed back home. A 2nd Immortal from Classic. Locks him in. Knocks out one of the Stalkers. Sentries yanked back by the Prism. And Classic still has a dangerous army juggling into the main. But the defender's advantage is not much, but it's enough. Saves some. That Warp Prism is an EMP and a strong gust of wind away from death, but there's nothing that can close the distance easily here. It's 3 Immortals to 2. Yanking them back, keeping the shields up. Force fields on either side. Keeping him at a relatively safe distance for now, but Hero goes from a safe position to just trying to cut this off entirely. The double Immortal drop on either side, as hard as you could potentially hit in this matchup this early on. Knocks out the Pylon, but it's still powered by the other gate, and he will depower the robotics facility and cut off the reinforcements, and that's it. He has to go. He has to do as much as he can right here, right now. And warping in while still microwing. Knocks out one of the Immortals. Trying to target another. Juggling in and out. The all-in out is working out well, but here come the Immortals for Hero. All the way back home. The Adepts are holding the line. Not the greatest target fire. Takes out one Immortal. The other one badly bruised. It's not enough. Hero holds. Finally, Classic's proxy robo plays are undercut, and Hero is able to hold with, you know, give some credit where it's due. The same build that Classic used. Both in spirit and in practice. At least the same one from Evil Hearts, I believe. He's not going to give it up quite yet. There's still something resembling an economy. But he didn't lose the Robo. It was just depowered. I say just, but locks in the Immortals. But again, who's locked in here with who? The sentries will be obliterated by the Immortal. Force field pushes him a little bit closer. How convenient. Meanwhile, the Prisms. Hot Prism on Prism action. And the Robo will be repowered, but Hero is coming across the map. The Warp Prism taking a lot of damage. If he loses that, it could be all over very quickly. Somehow this has evened out somewhat. Meanwhile, 3 hallucinated Colossi! And even though there's nothing to do, he knows they're not real, but in the end, does it even matter? This time, Hero is just running rampant over the base. Gives him the vision he needs. Classic with a desperate counterattack. But Hero should have recall available. Indeed he does. He's slaughtered the majority of the probes. He might be able to get the Nexus and then recall home to save the day. Another Robo depowered, this time on Hero's side of the map. GG! Classic knows there's not gonna be enough. He has nothing to go back to. And Hero ties things up yet again. What a roller coaster. Hero on the fly, with a little bit of copyright infringement there. Yanking that classic tactic of the semi-proxied Robo against the proxy Robo. So Classic did the same build 3 times in a row. In spirit. He varied exactly how he executed, but it is the Robo Prism. Hero has finally adapted, but it's a mirror matchup. And you know what the best counter seems to be? Doing the same thing, but better. Which might not be very original, but is very effective. And ties us up. 4 games down already. And potentially just 2 more to go. Magnetic North. Game 5 of the Revival Star League in Korea. This was held in person. So staring each other down. Well, not while they're playing, but with over $10,000 on the line. Make sure to check out RSL, and apparently planning for 2026. I think they're taking suggestions on what sort of tournament formats you'd like to see. I'm just highly amused. I don't know if I mentioned it or if things got too dramatic too quickly. But there were 3 seasons held online, but still high profile, of the Revival Star League in 2025, leading into these finals. The first 2 seasons, Classic won. One of them over Hero. The 3rd season, Hero won over Maru. So, technically in a best of 3, Classic has already won the finals. But this is Hero's chance to draw even, and this is the highest profile event of the year as well. And right now, clearly evenly matched. As the only two champions of all 4 seasons of the Revival Star League will battle. And we're no closer. Well, we're closer, but neither with an advantage going into Game 5. It feels like Game 1... Game 1 was, the, cold water splashed on Classic's face. Which, you know, for any plant, will wake it up quick. Here. Hello, play the game. And then, he remembered how to play and step things up. And now we got a series. Again, though, it's a map with a ramp up to the high ground, which has inspired both players. A pylon block from the first probe. Hero built a Zealot to make sure he denies it, as did Classic, as we're going to play ring around the bases here. The Zealot, unfortunately, is a melee warrior, which means the probe can lead it on the chase until there's something that isn't. A Stargate as part of the wall for both sides. It will be scouted immediately by said pro. Another pylon. Well, delaying the expansion, obviously worth it to both players. No warp gate on the way for either side either. Really just banking, like, quite literally. Are they even gonna bother with it? Are we going straight? Is this a Phoenix War? Oh no. Every point of gas, every single ounce, every single milligram, liter, droplet going into the Phoenixes. And then Classic cancels the Phoenix the moment it... And now he's going Oracle. Stop right there, criminal scum. The Adept. This isn't a wall. Here... Hero, everyone was... So the Adept got in because Hero was pretty convinced he had a wall. And the Adept helped him out by pointing out some clear flaws in that sort of plan. Still no warp gate. Classic just now starting. He started a Twilight Council beforehand. Hero getting a 3rd gas even before the Nexus finishes to time it out. Hero going mass Phoenix. Classic, on the other hand, I mean, this could be a DT rush. The Oracle is waiting for Hero to commit to something. As soon as the Phoenixes are spotted... Yeah, every second... Did he spot it? It doesn't matter now. The Oracle's gonna come in and burninate across the mineral line. 4 probe kills. He knows it's dead. So he's gonna get as many kills as he can. That number ends up being 6, which is quite a substantial amount, considering Hero's left with 24 probes. And a bit of a problem. Well, what are they doing down there? Well, that's how we got rid of all the Terrans. Clearly not referencing it. The Monster Energy murder. Nope. Well, all the probes will be picked up and knocked down. The danger of not going Phoenixes is they have total air control and can continually poke and prod, and especially until Blink, there's really no answer. He just has to run around and shake his non-existent Stalker fists up into the sky. It's going to be a Blink timing. Classic going to pull one from here. The Phoenixes being stacked on the pervert pillar like a makeshift overlord and denying vision of that high ground. Spots the Stalkers coming across the map. And Hero, he went to Stargate, but this Blink timing is not nearly as fast as Hero's was in Game 1. It's still going to be potentially dangerous. There will be an Immortal, but for Phoenixes, knowing that this is coming across the map, a shield battery, and Immortal's already done. Classic has to get something, otherwise the Phoenixes will continue cutting into his economy, and there will be almost no recovery as time goes on. Threatening a potential Blink up to the high ground. Classic recognizes immediately that this might be a fool's errand. He's gonna get one pylon. No? Hero even re-shields it with the battery. But Classic is taking a third. Hallucinates a Colossus for high ground vision. The Cyber Core will go down. Thankfully, Warp Gate is done for both sides now. And with the Hallucinated Colossus for vision, the gateway is physically in the way of the Immortals and Stalkers. So, a Dark Shrine for Hero. A Shrine to Dark, an appropriate move in almost every scenario. And a curious one at this particular timing, though. I guess there's a chance there's no detection on the other side, and DTs are always a threat. But especially in PvP, where detection is finicky, to say the least. There is just no end. He's just going to slaughter the probes. Classic does have a probe lead, but Hero's working on it right now. I don't even know what he's waiting. He has more energy, but just letting him stew for a moment. 9 probes killed, and now a Warp Prism out of Hero. He does spot the third base, though, which we'll see what he does with it. I usually feel like I'm leading the commentary down a certain road. Like, there's a high likelihood certain things are going to happen in most games. But honestly, I have no idea. Because Classic will be able to survive by just outproducing the Phoenix damage. But at the same time, the Dark Shrine is about to complete. Like, and there is absolutely no detection. He has an observer. Wait, where's the observer? It's over here. But the DTs are going to get in. And it doesn't take much to slice through a probe. Oh, no. Hero's behind on supply, but that's not going to last forever. The Phoenixes, the observer is halfway across the map. He starts a second one, but the slaughter has begun, and everything else is pulled off the line. DTs in 1, 2, 3 bases. It's a disaster for Classic. 15 probes dead. The army in full retreat. The lore-accurate Dark Templar just completely swerving the entire game. Ignore them at your own peril. Hero, with absolutely no shame and no interest in hiding the fact he's building a third base, builds it a split second before the gateway dies. Let the boy watch. Even though Classic, the only older player in the game than Hero. Classic 34, Hero 33 are 2 oldest players in StarCraft 2. Plenty of experience. Just like all of us, right? How's the back bay? At least 2 of the top competitive players. There's a few that are older, but they're not here, are they? The DTs still mixed into the army. Why not? A couple of Archons could actually help out a lot. That's so many Immortals out of Hero. 5 Immortals, some charge lots for Classic, force fields blocking in. I'm not sure who cast them, but Hero working with them. The Immortals... What happened to the Prism? Oh, no! The Prism, everything gets canceled, but it might be enough anyways. The Immortals all died, but they served their purpose. Well, Hero has Blink, but no charge, and without charge, the Zealots are quite tanky, and very hard for the Stalkers to take down. Classic turns it around. Hero! He lost the... I have to go back. I need to know what happened. Hero comes in. Like, that's the pivotal moment of the game so often, is the War Prism. And the War Prism, a single Stalker. Oh, the Hero Stalker! Somewhat puns intended, but the Stalker, the last Stalker blinked it. It's carved through the fight like the protagonist in an action movie and managed to get the Prism with its last attack and cancel the warp and cancel the reinforcements and maybe cancel Hero going up to match point. If he had that warp in, there is no doubt in my mind that Hero has won this game already. But that Stalker at the turn of the tide. But was it enough? Well, Classic now has better tech, he has more workers, and he has the same amount of gates. I think so. Like, Hero's only advantage, and it's not to be underestimated, is the Dark Shrine, which got him into this at least previously advantageous position. But now, will it be enough to maintain it? Classic can't reliably move out, though. He doesn't have enough army to do so without risking his mineral lines. The thing is, the DT's on the field. If he can snipe, the Observers get taken down. Hero was thinking about sniping the Observer. Classic gets it first. Hero's got a Forge on the way. The Dark Templar slipping through. Is he gonna blink up? No, well, in essence, with the Warp Prism there. Gonna use the DTs to try to save the day. Takes out one of the Stalkers. Goes straight for the mineral line. Is there a point in recalling? He'll think about it. One DT will get home. Hero with a hidden base. The Prism. Hero's down 20 supply. Classic has most of the advantages here. Charge is not done. Charge is... There is no damage on charge and hasn't been for several years, but the Zealots will get into position to attack more quickly. But if it's Zealot versus Zealot, there's not necessarily a huge advantage in having charge. But let's not lie to ourselves. There's a big advantage in having charge. But the Zealots on defense, Guardian Shield, not that helpful here because it's off to the side. The Observers are so important. If Hero's not Hero on the Observer, he gets the Observer! But does he have any warp-ins for DTs? It might not matter. The DT gets in, gonna kill some probes. He warps in another Dark Templar. The only chance, the Dark Templar here. The Stalkers are led away. It's just one DT. He's gonna lose all the probes at the same time. Classic. The Observer snipe was way too late. And, well, Hero technically has this Nexus hidden in the corner, but even with a few DTs back at home, the army supply is doubled. Another Observer's coming up. And that's the end. Classic goes to match point, 1 game away from claiming the biggest Revival Star League championship of the year, and the last one of 2025. What? Hero somehow turning the game around, and then that single Stalker, the Hero Stalker. Without it, with that warp in, Hero wins the game. Not even Hero can throw from there, I don't think. But well, we're going to game number 6. And we'll see. Hero is back up against the wall. But that's when he's most dangerous. Jimmy, hurry. Persephone. For game 6. Classic up 3-2. He really fumbled that one at the goal line. The Warp Prism, the conduit, in the literal sense, to victory. It's required to maintain your position. Otherwise, you just don't have the reinforcements, obviously. I mean, everybody's seen the cinematic, right? How did it all go so wrong? He lost so many immortals on their own. Like, he lost 5 immortals just fighting in their own corner. And yes, they did a lot of damage, but it was on Classic side of the map. Oh, Hero. Somehow, PvP makes Hero look sane, though. I will say, not a single game so far. Maybe with the... And even then, last game was... Everyone and anyone makes that mistake on occasion. And honestly, the commitment of the Stalkers could have been a total waste from Classic and cost him any chance to actually hold in that fight. So it was a big risk that paid off. But Protoss, like, is such a... mentally elastic matchup is where Hero seems to be the most sane person in the game, which is appropriate, I think. As pylons appear on either side of the map, not necessarily the ones they spawned on, a proxy second pylon for both sides in similar locations. Hero, what's it gonna be? A robotics facility for both sides. Proxy robo. You get a proxy robo, and you get a proxy robo, and you get a proxy robo. Everyone gets a proxy robo. Right. Then what? I really... It comes down to execution. Immortals and Warp Prisms are too important. And they're also so expensive, they almost preclude anything else. Both players are going for Adepts. So, trying to save up at least a little bit of extra gas. And keeping that threat early. The probe on the run. Maybe lead him off to the side. Try to bait the shade. Hero, clearly. Classic will take the bait. Masterfully done. Both players setting up the half wall. Chest high wall. Pre-building up high. Is he just hard walling? Hero. Well. The one thing he certainly does not give in this holiday season is a fuck. Like, just a hard wall, which tells a story in and of itself, and it's... You should look at your own base, sir. The Stalkers are scrambling back, but what's crab walking its way towards them? It's an immortal! Here we go! But the Adepts... Oh no, Classic! I mean, the wall... The Adepts are already inside the house! You can't lock the door anymore. He keeps the Immortal out, but the Adepts are an existential threat. They're already cutting through the probes on the other side. The Immortal blasting through the pylons, but the economic damage is being done. The warp gates are opening up, and he will be able to get the warp in, but he's going to depower the shield battery. What's happening at the front? The probes are pulled off the line. Everyone is depowered at this point. But a warp prism on either side. The Immortal racking up the kills. The probe counts are plummeting. Back, Classic has 12. Retargeting onto the Stalker. What am I watching? A single Adept. There's a shield battery in the mineral line, which could make all the difference. The Immortal will blast through the sentry, and I think the shield... That's it! Game 7! In our shortest game so far, both players with a Warp Prism and an immortal. But Classic let the adepts in. And now he has to get out of the game. Again. No, it's a disaster for Classic. Hero with the full commit. He knew what he was about. He hard-walled in. Classic did not. Hero went all the way. He half-asses nothing. He full-asses one thing. In one way or another, that usually ends up being the defining characteristic of the game. So, game number 7. A singular match to determine who will be the last champion of 2025. The last major tournament. The Revival Star League 2025 offline finals. It all begins and ends on Maganatha. In the top left, the Season 1 and 2 champion. 1 game away from taking 3. We have Classic. And in the bottom right, the rank 1 Protoss in the world. And somehow navigating this matchup as well. The Smiling Assassin. It's Hero. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far, and hopefully this match made it just a little bit better. Like, subscribe, check out RSL. I told you to buckle up. It won't be much longer. Where do they put the Robo this time? I really thought Hero would have the advantage with his Phoenixes. But Classic handled it well. Like, that was really our only game that has gone past the Robo phase. Is, when Hero went Mass Phoenix. Yeah, but then he ended up going Mass Robo himself. But Classic out-economied it. Got a little greedy. And managed to avoid being punished for it. There's clearly a meta. What are you doing, Hero? Hero decides game number 7 is when he's going to reinvent Protoss versus Protoss. 1 gate. Which leaves him obscenely, recklessly vulnerable to so many things. Yet, opens up an opportunity for so many others. Classic did not scout until well after the Cybercore is already done. He can't really change his build to punish this. Why are you leaving? No. He gets in. Is he going to see the Stargate? Yes. What's it going to be? Like, both players have nearly full vision. Well, Hero does not have time to get in and see the Stargate out of Classic. That's very intentional from Classic. Hiding that. This pylon is also, well, a strong distraction. He's going to knock out the probe. So, 2 Adepts can just kill a Stalker. The probe coming back around. Classic slaps down the Nexus. But that means he won't be able to keep the probe from getting in and spotting the Stargate. Phoenixes. Shield better on the low ground. Hero will have a significant advantage. The probe still just... he likes to watch. Just like everyone here, alright? You're on game 7 of a PvP. Yes, it's the grand finals, but it's PvP. It's madness. But every once in a while... It's a nice treat. I wouldn't cast every day or almost ever unless Hero's there, but it can be something. But I think you need some time to mentally recover afterwards. And again, Classic is going to attempt an Oracle. Wait, that's a real Phoenix on both sides, and they go their separate ways. Because losing the Phoenix lead happens very quickly. They can attack while moving, and they have the same range as a Phoenix. So if you have one more Phoenix, the advantage becomes very clear very quickly. And there's no way to get away, because Phoenixes, and this is true, move at the same speed as a Phoenix. You can write that down. The Oracle waiting. Clearly, and a proxy gate for Classic. The Phoenixes just dart into the main, will lift up and slice. The fact that the Stargate is not produced a Dark Shrine, of course. Where's he building it? Oh, I mean, yeah. Proxy Dark Shrine. The Shrine to Dark, always a threat. And Classic takes out 6 probes with the Oracle. Shield battery will be enough to save a couple more, but the Oracle perfectly timed. But wait. You know, you might as well go for the probes as the Phoenixes are coming back. Time is limited. Will he actually go for the recall? The Phoenixes splitting the search party. And the recall slightly out of vision. What a save. What a save! I think he was debating it. Like, is it worth it? Or he didn't have... Oh, wait, Hero has an Oracle. Wait, what? What did... I guess he knew it wouldn't be shot down nearly as easily. As, there are no Phoenixes for Classic. So Hero technically has an Oracle. The Dark Shrine. Now, if Hero... Huh. So the Oracle is going to be on the other side of the map. The Dark Templar are usually a strong choice, but the fact that Hero made an Oracle preemptively gives him potentially Revelation. And Revelation for the DTs is all he needs to shut them down before they really start. It's a huge investment. Oracle gets knocked out. 6 probes dead for Classic, 2 for Hero. The Oracle comes back home. He saw the Twilight. And he's expecting the blinks. Hero. Does he see the shimmer? Oh yeah, oh yeah. He spots it. It will do literally nothing. Everyone, get over here and laugh at the Templar as we murder him. That is a huge pickup in every sense for Hero. The Dark Shrine being a complete... It's not a waste, but severely reduced in value. That was a huge investment. He didn't get a single probe. He didn't force anything. He didn't even get, like, the Oracle to get recalled back. It was already there. This is a disaster. Like, Classic is playing... He has to pretend like he has a lot more than he does right now. He has Blink. Slightly faster than Hero, and he's working with it. But Hero's going to have a quicker third base. He still has the Phoenixes and the Oracle. He's just got more right now. But Classic can't just let Hero take those advantages. He has to pretend, at least, like he's still a threat on the field. Because both sides have been killing probes left and right, it's kind of hard to tell for either side how close the worker counts are. And we know the worker counts are very close indeed. 52 to 50. But Hero's got a few more in production. They're within 1 or 2 probes. The Dark Templar are going to try to sneak in. Might find an opportunity, but the Oracle and the Phoenixes... I mean, every slice. Good reaction, but still gets 4 probes. It's something. Not great, not terrible. Classic is up to 60 probes. He's been chrono boosting for sure. And now got +1 on the way, but Hero already has +1, nearly halfway done. Charge in production. Classic with the advantage there, but... Again, the army supply goes to Hero. And Classic cannot afford to lose a single fight. Whereas Hero has a little more weight to throw around. Not in common with your mother, but... It's PvP. Fights can... Like, we saw the Warp Prism. In, on Magnetic North. We saw how important it is and how quickly a fight can turn from a near insurmountable advantage to a defeat. And that is still true here, though less so with these sort of armies, as we get into in Game 7. Partially because the map is so massive, partially because both these players trying to outmaneuver one another on the tech tree. And I think partially because it's game 7, and both of them are still playing a little bit more careful. We have our longest game. This might be the only time, maybe on Magnetic North, we barely got to 100 supply, but this will be the first time we get anywhere close to 200, as there's no reason to attack until that for Hero, and it's very risky for Classic. Hero will have the upgrade advantage. He's going to knock down maybe a Phoenix or two. Technically, these are out of range, but Hero has to actually... He just recalls. Loses 2. I mean, you really do want to keep at least 1 or 2 alive to help deal with warp prisms, or maybe even... Hero, a little bit late on going for the probes. He actually right-clicked on a cannon. Oh, bit of a mistake. Will get punished immediately, knocked out of the sky. The Phoenixes are back. Almost as soon as they left, gonna knock down a couple more probes. Classic still has a worker advantage. Hero, it's 8 gates apiece. 4th base on the way. Looking like a true mirror matchup here, but what is the unit composition? This is where we actually break down the meat and potatoes. Again, metaphorically, of course. We've got 2 Immortals apiece, a couple Archons for Hero, with a lot more charge lots and less Stalkers, which in a straight-up brawl is usually better. But when it comes to poking and prodding is noticeably worse, as these Stalkers outrange everything but the Immortals here by a pretty large margin. I mean, the Zealots are melee and the Archons are effectively melee. Classic. Hero's going to have +2 attack, which is a huge upgrade advantage in this matchup. The rocks are going to be taken down, try to limit Hero's options, which I'm not sure if that's better or worse, but Classic trying to keep control of the situation. Hero just finished +2 attack. There's a bit of a concave on the outside here. Hero with 4 Archons, 3 Immortals, and he's going to push forward. He's not going to let Classic. He knows he has the upgrade advantage, and the Phoenixes are on top of the Prism. Hero's Prism is wandering into the fray. He lifts up the Immortals. A huge part of the fight. Hallucinated Archons in there. But Hero will easily crush through, especially with the Immortals removed from the fray. The Warp Prism taken down in Classic. Hero destroys the important parts of the army and more of it. He pounces with the upgrade advantage. Classic overstayed his welcome, and he wasn't welcome at all. So, not hard to do. He's going to get around to the 4th base. Sniping off this Nexus is good. He recalls as many Stalkers as can fit in a recall. They'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. And then... But Hero now, 97 to 66 army supply. Classic was 1 game away. But now, Hero has the advantages. He's got a freight train, and Classic is stuck on the tracks. He's trying to circumvent it. Some Warpins back at home. There's enough units to deal with the counterattacks. Classic has a better economy. He's got 69 probes. He's got way more bases, which is a nice advantage if he had the time to use it. But Hero is not a patient man. Hero, 3 observers with the army, making sure the Dark Templar are not the potential that they could be in any other scenario. The reinforcements are warping it at home. Hero's putting together the defenses. The Immortals are blasting through. Hero carving out as much as he can. And there might just be enough in general. He might not even need to recall. The charge lot's coming up. Hero has 2-1 versus 1-1. There's more Stalkers for Hero. The charge lots, the cannons. He could pull the probes if he really wanted. Some of the army is coming back across, and even just the reinforcing units. Classic is down 50 supply. Warping in some Dark Templar. There's observers overhead. I think he's done it again. The proxy gate may be taken down. The Phoenixes are here. Classic not willing to tap it out, obviously. Hero has thrown some dramatic games before. But, I think he's got too much momentum in the right direction here. An Immortal comes down the ramp and probably doesn't want to be here at all. Classic throwing everything he can into the middle of the map, but Hero still has plenty at home. Somehow Classic still has the worker lead. A desperate counter, but here comes Hero again. He just has more. It's too much. The Phoenixes, he's going for the Observer. But Hero could snipe it off first. If he gets it, the Observer, he gets the Observer. So the Dark Templar are now more effective. But there's more Observers. There's enough. He's just pumping them out. Right now there are 5 Observers. He's chasing it down. The DT's desperate. The charge lots stuffed at the door. And Classic comes up the ramp one last time. But Hero will be the only one making it out alive. Hero is your champion. The finals of 2025. And I think appropriate cap to the year. As Hero once again, the come from behind victory. The most fun kind. 4 games to 3. And thus concludes the 2025 Revival Star League Championship. And another year of StarCraft 2. I mean, there will still be tournaments. We got the weeklies. We got all the cups that I assume Hero will be making quite a strong appearance in. But let me know. By the way, you made it to the end. Obviously, you're dedicated. What you would like to see. I've already been collecting my choices for the top 10 games of the year. I don't know if any of the games from this match will make it. Probably not. But I'm thinking a single video, not a short one, though featuring these two players a lot, of the my top 10 games of the year. I was thinking about doing one video after another, but that seems a bit gratuitous, and they're already out there. So maybe a 3 or 4 hour video of the top 10. But let me know if you have any ideas. We'll probably be releasing in a week or 2. But thank you again for watching. I hope it made your day just a little bit better. Congratulations to Hero on another victory and capping off the biggest RSL of the year. And thank you to the Revival StarCraft 2 League for another great tournament. Make sure to check them out. And if you got the means of motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking, subscribing, and hyping are still free, at least for now. But thank you to our meal tier patrons, bringing in the extra minerals. Big Jiggy, Devin, Door, Kate, Mario, Suit. Glad you still enjoy. And everyone, make sure to check out this video that Jimmy picked out for you. Give me those ideas for the end of the year video. And otherwise, thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.